He says nothing. Not a word. Not a glance. Not even the decency of a proper goodbye. He behaves as if you were merely a fleeting thought in his narrative, as if what you shared was light, forgettable, unimportant. But let me whisper something to your heart that the angels want you to know. This silence is not emptiness. It's fear. His coldness is not a lack of emotion. It's overwhelming. He pretends you never mattered because you matter too much. The truth is, your presence changed everything for him. And that scared him in ways he doesn't fully understand. You see, he constructed his life around control, over his emotions, his image, his story. And then you arrived. Not with grand gestures or loud declarations, but with quiet truth. With eyes that saw right through to his core. With a soul that called his forward. With love that didn't demand anything, but invited everything. That unmoored him. People like him don't know how to handle something that genuine. They're accustomed to masks, games, and emotionally safe distances. But you came with your authenticity, your depth, your vulnerability. And you touched something within him that had been buried for years. Maybe even for centuries. And that's why he withdrew. Not because you were too insignificant, but because you were too much. Too much of what he wasn't ready to confront. Too much of what he secretly longed for. He didn't just move on. That's what you need to grasp. He didn't simply forget, or shrug it off, or lose interest. No matter how much he pretends it never mattered, like you were just another chapter he's already closed, he remembers. He carries the weight of it, even if he buries it under excuses or busyness or relationships that don't challenge him the way you did. He tries to convince himself of things that make it easier to look away. Things like, it wasn't the right moment, or it probably meant more to her than to me, or even, it's better this way. But that voice inside him, the one he tries to shut out, won't let up. Because deep down, he knows the truth. That with you, something real happened. Something that shook him in ways he wasn't prepared for. You didn't just come into his life. You disrupted it. You brought a level of closeness he didn't see coming. You looked beyond the version of him he shows the world, the one he hides behind for comfort. And instead of stepping back, you stayed. You gave him space. You listened. You cared in a way that felt genuine, not just for show. You were present, and that kind of presence leaves lasting echoes. He doesn't know how to deal with that. So he does the one thing that feels familiar. He pulls away. He minimizes things. He pretends. Not because you meant nothing to him, but because you meant too much. Too real. Too meaningful. Too different from what he thought love would be like. And I know it can be confusing to watch someone act like you never existed, especially when your heart still carries fragments of what you shared. It's frustrating. It's unfair. But his silence, his distance, the way he avoids eye contact with your memory, none of that means you fell short. It's about him not knowing how to confront something that struck deeper than he ever anticipated. There are connections that comfort us. And then there are connections that challenge who we thought we were. You were the latter. You brought out something in him that he hadn't touched in a long time, or maybe never before. And that can be terrifying. Because when someone sees you, not just the smile or the charm or the version you've crafted, but you, it's disarming. He felt that. He still does. Even if he acts like he doesn't. Sometimes people don't leave because they don't care. Sometimes they leave because they care so much that they don't know what to do with it. They panic. They convince themselves that staying would hurt more than leaving. So they go. And then they act like they never looked back. But they do. Just not where you can see. And this isn't about excusing his choices. You deserved more. You still do. But it's important for you to stop wondering what you did wrong. Because that's not where the answer lies. You didn't do something that pushed him away. You did something that brought something within him to the surface. And he wasn't ready for that. He still thinks about you. Not in a casual once-in-a-while kind of way, but in those quiet moments, the ones he doesn't talk about. When he's alone. When he sees something that reminds him. When he remembers how he felt safer with you than he ever admitted. When he hears a voice that sounds like yours, and his chest tightens before his brain catches up. He might not reach out. He might never say it out loud. But the truth is not something you need to be told to know. You felt it. And no amount of pretending on his part erases what was there. You matter. You mattered. And the way you showed up, the way you offered something genuine without demanding anything in return, that still matters. Some people aren't ready to be seen. And that's not your fault. You didn't ask for too much. You didn't move too fast. You didn't feel too deeply. You were honest. And in a world full of masks, that's rare. But it's also intimidating. So let him pretend. Let him carry the story he needs to tell himself. But don't let it define how you see yourself. Because you didn't lose something. You revealed something. In him. In yourself. In what love can actually feel like. You were the one who awakened something in him. And even if he can't say it, even if he doesn't act on it, that doesn't mean it isn't still there, taking up space he doesn't know how to fill. He feels it. Still. Even if he doesn't act like it. Even if he never says a word. Even if he pretends everything's fine and the past is the past and you were just another name that came and went. He still feels it. He still carries it. And he still doesn't know what to do with any of it. He fills his days. That's his way of not thinking. Always moving, always doing, always surrounded by people or noise or plans that keep him just busy enough. Enough to keep the thoughts at bay. Enough to not have to stop long enough to feel what's been sitting there, quiet, waiting. But he knows. And it doesn't go away just because he won't say it out loud. It shows up in the spaces. When the noise fades. When the phone's not lighting up. When he's alone in a room that feels colder than it used to. That's when it creeps in. The memories. The feelings. The parts of you that left a mark he didn't expect and didn't prepare for. Maybe it's the sound of your laugh that plays in his mind when he hears something that would have made you smile. Or that silence that used to feel full when you were around, but now just feels like absence. There's a difference, and he feels it. Maybe he tries to shake it off. Maybe he tells himself to let it go. But it's there. And it's not about you being unforgettable because of some perfect version of love you gave him. It's not about romantic moments or magical connections or something you could have changed to make him stay. It's deeper than that. It's about how real you were. How you didn't just meet a surface version of him, but you met something inside him that maybe no one else ever did. And that's the part he doesn't know how to handle. Because you didn't chase. You didn't try to be what you thought he wanted. You were just you. Present. Honest. Patient. And it was too much. Not in a way that says you overdid anything, but in a way that forced him to feel things he had learned to avoid. That's the part he's trying to bury. You might be wondering what all of this was about. Why you had to step into his world, love him the way you did, and then end up being treated like you were nothing. Why someone would act as if you never mattered when everything in your heart tells you that you did. And it hurts. Because part of you wants to believe that maybe you imagined it all. Maybe you got it wrong. But you didn't. And the angels want you to know that. They've witnessed everything. Not just his confusion, but your courage. Not just his avoidance, but your honesty. They've seen how you opened yourself up, the way you were present even when things felt uncertain. And they want to remind you that love, real love, isn't measured by how someone responds. It's measured by the truth behind why you offered it in the first place. You didn't love him because he earned it. You didn't love him because you needed something in return. You loved him because something within you felt it was right. It came from a place within you that wasn't calculating or cautious. It came from your soul. And whether or not he was ready for that, he felt it. It's easier for him to say nothing, to move on without closure, to pretend he's unaffected. But deep down, you shook him. You changed the way he sees things, even if he hasn't figured out how to live with that change. You made him question the version of himself that he had become comfortable with. That's not something people forget. He may not come back. He may never be able to say the words you deserved to hear. But that doesn't erase what you shared. And it doesn't mean it wasn't real. It means he's not in a place to confront the part of himself that you saw. The part that was honest, and open, and scared. And now, you're left holding pieces of something that didn't get the ending it should have. That's tough. It's unfair. But it's also not your fault. You didn't ask for too much. You didn't give too freely. You didn't break anything. You simply loved. You showed up. You gave something genuine. And that matters more than you know. So please stop wondering what you could have done differently. Stop replaying the conversations. Stop second-guessing the moments when you were brave enough to care. The truth is, he wasn't ready. And pretending that you didn't matter is his way of protecting himself from that truth. But just because he won't admit it doesn't mean it's not there. It is. It's in the way he pauses when someone mentions your name. It's in the way he avoids places you used to go. It's in the way he scrolls past your photo but doesn't truly scroll past it. It's in the late-night thoughts that keep him awake. The dreams that feel too real. And it's in the ache he carries, the one he'll never share with anyone. The ache of knowing he let something real slip away, not because it wasn't right, but because he couldn't handle being seen, being loved, being known. You were never too much. You were exactly what he needed. But that doesn't mean he was ready for it. Now it's your turn to be ready. Ready to see your own worth outside of what he could or couldn't give. Ready to move forward without needing him to validate what you felt. Ready to stop carrying the weight of his silence as if it means anything about you. He's pretending. But you don't have to. Because love like that, it doesn't fit into neat boxes. It doesn't follow scripts. It breaks things open. And when someone isn't ready to be opened up, they flee. They freeze. They fake it. Not because they don't care, but because they care more than they know how to handle. So, what do you do with that? With a love that touched his soul but didn't get its fair chance? You honor it. Not by waiting. Not by hoping he wakes up tomorrow and says everything you've been longing to hear. But by knowing the truth. And choosing yourself anyway. Choosing your light. Your worth. Your future. Because here's another truth the angels want you to hold. Your love was never wasted. Not a glance. Not a moment. Not a word. It wasn't lost. It was planted. And even if he never returns to harvest it, that doesn't mean it didn't grow something sacred. In him. And in you. You're different now. Stronger. Softer. Wiser. More aware of your own heart and its power. That's the gift of love, even the unfulfilled kind. It expands us. It teaches us. It shapes us. And perhaps one day, he will stop pretending. Perhaps he'll find the courage to face what he ran from, to say what he never said, to show what he couldn't before. And if that day comes, you'll meet him not as the woman who waited, but as the woman who lived, who grew, who healed. Until then, remember this. Just because someone acts like you never mattered, doesn't mean you didn't. It only means you mattered so much, it broke something open in them they weren't ready to heal. And your soul, that radiant, brave, tender soul of yours, deserves to be cherished in full. Never hidden. Never denied. Never silenced. So shine anyway. Love anyway. Live anyway. He pretends, but your truth doesn't have to. You may not realize it now, but everything you gave him is still echoing inside of him. The softness of your voice when he was angry. The steadiness in your eyes when he felt lost. The way you remembered the little things. The way you made space for his silence without trying to fill it. That kind of presence doesn't vanish. It lingers. It leaves fingerprints on the soul. And whether he ever admits it out loud or not, he carries you with him. There's a part of him that wishes he could go back, to moments he didn't fully appreciate, to the ways he kept you at a distance while silently craving closeness. But going back would mean confronting all the ways he ran. And right now, he's still running. From himself, more than from you. Because deep down, he knows. You saw the real him. And when someone finally sees us for who we are, it either invites us to rise, or forces us to hide. He chose to hide. But you don't have to hide. You don't have to shrink your heart just because someone couldn't hold it. You don't have to mute your love just because it scared him. The world needs more of your kind of love. Honest, courageous, luminous. And just because one person didn't know how to receive it doesn't mean you should stop offering it. You just offer it more wisely, more discerningly, to someone ready, to someone open. The angels are reminding you that your soul contract with him may not have been about a lifelong union. Maybe it was about awakening. For both of you. Maybe your love was the key that unlocked a door in his heart he didn't even know was locked. And maybe his silence now is the space that's allowing you to grow into someone even more radiant, even more powerful, even more in tune with your truth. There's something sacred in every heartbreak if we're willing to listen. If we're willing to let the pain polish us instead of harden us. And you, dear soul, are being polished right now. Into clarity. Into grace. Into strength. Not the kind of strength that walls up, but the kind that stands open. Soft. Vulnerable. Unapologetic. Because love isn't weakness. Emotion isn't a flaw. Caring deeply is not a character defect. It's your superpower. It's what made you unforgettable. It's why he can't truly let go, no matter how far he runs or how convincingly he pretends. Yes, he acts like you never mattered. But the truth? You were the change. The turning point. The quiet revolution in his life. And that scares him more than he would ever admit. Because once someone has touched our soul, nothing else ever really feels the same again. So the next time you find yourself doubting, wondering if any of it was real, let this be your reminder. It was. Every glance. Every pause. Every breath you shared. It mattered. It still matters. And even if the story didn't unfold the way you hoped, it wasn't a waste. It was a wake-up call. For him and for you. The angels want you to cherish the love that was. Release the pain that lingers. And embrace the love that is yet to come. Because someone out there is praying for a love like yours. Someone out there is ready to meet you. Not with fear, but with openness. Not with silence, but with presence. Not with pretense, but with truth. You didn't lose. You learned. You didn't fail. You freed something in both of you. And now, you get to carry that forward, into a future that no longer asks you to dim your light or question your worth. He pretends. But you don't have to. Your love was real. Your presence was powerful. And your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Let him pretend. You radiant soul, you get to rise.